Good morning everyone, it's Carol from the Crafty Emporium. This is the second video of the 5 things challenge. Now today I'm not actually going to choose 5 things, I'm just going to show you the technique of how I made what I'm going to demonstrate to you shortly, because I want you to use your own imagination as to what it is that you want to use. Now I have some examples in front of me which I'm going to go through after I've demonstrated how you make this, and I'm calling this the envelope wallet. Now I was inspired by this I received from one of the ladies from the tag challenge that we did. I have a feeling it was Margaret Pinsent, but I could be wrong. So if it wasn't you, Margaret, could you let me know? And if it was you that sent it to me, could you let me know? And I'll mention you in the description box down below. But she sent me this little wallet here full of goodies, and I thought that it's actually a nice wallet to receive to send out as a rack, because then you could put loads of bits in it. So this is what inspired me. Now this may be out in YouTube land elsewhere. I don't know. I'm not sure. So if you have done something like this, this is my take on it, because I was inspired by this. I just liked the size and the feel of it. Now this lady used a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and she used a music sheet paper as well. But I'm going to show you a few other bits and pieces. So these are the ones that I made, and I am going to go through each of those with you shortly, but I just want to quickly show you, because it is actually something that's really quick to make. I have this box of plain card bits that I have left over from making mini albums and journals, so there's a lot there. But I put this piece of paper on top because it's a piece of wallpaper, so you can choose music paper, book pages, your leftover bits of plain card, your 12 by 12 papers. Use whatever it is that you want. I'm going to put that to one side for now. Now I'm going to use these bits, okay, to show you how I made it. Now I'm not very good at doing the measuring thing, but I will try to do that today. But basically all you need is a rectangle. So you could use a full sheet of A4, a full sheet of 12 by 12, a full sheet of music paper. It can be whatever size you so wish, okay? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to fold this bottom bit up. And again, I'm not going to measure, but you want this to be the small fold, and you can use your scalpel, scoring tools, whatever you so wish, if you want to. But I'm just going to fold it over like this for now, because it's just quicker. And then this top bit is going to be the flap, but that wants to be bigger, but it does want to overlap this bit here at the bottom, so it needs to come down beyond this point. So I'm just going to fold that over there. And I'm just going to trim off my edges to straighten them up, because it was a bit wonky doodly. So I'll just neaten up that edge and also the other edge. Get rid of those bits. There we go. So that you end up with that. Okay. Now inside we're going to make it like a wallet, and I'm going to show you one of the ones that I've done. I'm going to show you this one. So that when you lift up the flap, it reveals all these different little insert sections, so it's just like a man's wallet, where it has all those pockets for putting credit cards and things. Okay, so that's why we need just the small bit at the bottom here, because we're going to insert other things, other pieces of card behind this initial flap. I've chosen this because I thought it complemented the paper well, but also you can see the two different colours of card. Now I think that that is too deep to go from there to there, so I'm actually going to trim a little bit off that. Let me just trim that down a little. Now you could measure and decide to do these in stepped increments, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Just try that one. Okay, so can you see how much of a step I've got here? So that's about what? About 1/2 inch, and I need to cut it down to that size so that it's the same width as the wallet. So that is going to sit in there, and it doesn't matter if it's fractionally shorter than the width of the wallet. Okay, so if I measure from the edge of the wallet to the top edge of this card, it is 1/2 inch. So if I add another 1/2 inch onto this measurement, so this one is 2.5 inches. So if I cut another piece at 3 inches deep, then I can get an extra piece in. So let's cut that at 3 inches. And I want it to the same length. Okay, so now I've got a second piece. So those two will slot under there. But I don't want this second one to go right the way up to the crease, because you need to be able to get into this section here. If you have this too high up, you can't actually get in. So that does need, you do need to leave a gap between this top edge excuse me, this top edge and the top crease. Now I'm actually going to put thumb holes in as well, which also makes it easier, and I'm going to punch the two together so that I know that the punches are lined up. So I've turned my, butted these two up down at this edge here, and I've turned my punch over. This is thick card, and again you can measure to find the centre if you wish. But now I know that they're in line with each other. So if I turn that around, pop it down, and you see how they're in line. Okay. I'm actually going to take just a smidge off this bottom one. I want a little bit more of a, yeah, that's better. A little bit more of a space between the two, and therefore I'm going to take, so this is where, if you're just using your scraps and you haven't measured, you end up trimming a bit off from here and a bit off from there. Let's try that. There we go, that's better look, isn't it? Yes. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this top pocket over, the bigger one of the two, and I'm just going to put just a tiny bit of glue down each side. It doesn't even need to be across the bottom. And I'm just going to sit that in that bottom crease. There. And then I'm going to do the same with the smaller pocket. Just put a little bit of glue on the sides. It doesn't need to be along the bottom, because you've got the bottom edge of the envelope will catch everything. And I don't want masses of glue on, because I'm going to be sewing this on the sewing machine as well. So I'm just going to sit that one on top, And of course you can ink the edges of your papers up as well. Okay, and then I'm going to put glue on this bottom flap, just along that bottom edge there, and that bottom edge there, and just glue the two together. And that is the basis of the wallet, really. What you do with it after that is then entirely up to you, how you go about decorating it and stuff. But what I would do now is I would actually take this to the sewing machine once the glue has dried, and I would zigzag stitch up along this edge here, all the way around, back down, and then across the bottom. I would probably just do a straight stitch across the bottom, because that then definitely holds all these edges together, and also with the zigzag stitching it makes it that little bit more decorative. Of course, if you haven't got a sewing machine, you don't have to sew. You could just glue like I've just done here. Now the other thing that I did on my wallets as well was I put a pocket on the back, so we love a pocket. Now I think that this piece is maybe, is it too small? No, that'll do fine. I'm just going to trim it down now. I think the depth of it is too much. So I'm just going to trim a top edge off. Let's try that. Yeah, that'll do, look. Little pocket on the back there, lovely. Again, put a little thumb hole on, so it makes it easier to access whatever you tuck inside. And then I would just glue that in place. But what I've done on some of these other wallets that I've made that I'm going to show you in a bit, let me just see if I can find one. No, not that one. Yeah. On this one, before I stuck the pocket on, and I doubt very much if you'll be able to see it, but just inside, just there, you know the shims, the magnetic sheets that you get when you buy a set of dies? I cut a thin strip of one of those magnetic sheets and I stuck it onto the back of my pocket here, and then so I glued it in place, and then I put micropore over the top so that when you're inserting something into your pocket it's not catching on the strip of magnet. Now the reason why I did that was because I've put a journal somewhere, there we go, there it is, just as an example. And again, this was also inspired by, I think it was Margaret again. So you know how on the inside back cover of a journal, you know how we sometimes attach these extra pieces of paper for decoration? Well, if I'd put some magnets underneath here, it meant that this could then sit on top of there, because the magnets from the strip underneath this pocket here to the magnets that are underneath this piece of card would actually then attract each other and would hold that wallet in place, because these wallets can be a little bit too big to be a bit of a tuck spot if you're going to do a big version. Obviously if you're going to do a small version it doesn't matter so much, but I thought it was a nice idea of it catching just inside of there. So again, what I did was I just attached a magnetic strip just cut from one of the shims from my dies and stuck it on the back, and then put micropore on top of that to just hold it in place as extra sticky, but also to soften that edge so that when you're putting something in it won't catch on the strip of magnet. And then I attached the pocket to the back of the wallet, okay, and then decorated up to my heart's content, so that when you lift this up, get another bit of card, when you lift this up you've got a pocket here and here and here, and then when you close it and turn it over, you would then have a pocket then on the back. So I did a smaller version of one here. So there's a red one, and there's a pocket there and there and there, and then I made this pocket to then go on the back. But it's a great way again of using up all those scraps of papers. Now I'm going to get all the rest of the wallets out that I've made to show you. So this was one that it was an 8x8 piece of paper, and I used the 8x8 to make this part and the back. No, I didn't. I used an 8x8, there we go, to make that part, which made the flap there. And then I attached an extra bit on the bottom. Okay, but as you can see, look how I decorated it up using all my little die cuts, bits and pieces, and bits of paper that I've punched the edges out of, little bits of trim and buttons. And then around here I did some dots. I stitched this one in place around there, just around the 3 sides, and I've only got the one pocket for the inside. And then on the back I've got the long pocket here, just some faux stitching again with my white pen, and this was one of the Tim Holtz pre-cut die pieces. And then there's the pocket on the back, but that has got the magnet on the inside. So that was using my 8x8 sheets of paper. This one was using music paper, and then I put a paper napkin on the top. Decorated it with some flowers from out of my stash and some lace trim here. And if I turn it over, instead of putting a pocket on the back, because I didn't want to cover over the whole of this, I made a belly band so that I could just slot something. Let's get a bit of cardigan, so I could just slot something in there. But the other thing that I did was I added a tab, which you can't really see at this point here, and the tab I actually put a magnet in it, so it's magnetized. So I put, can you see the tab there? Look, there's the magnet. And then I put a metal piece here, and that's what the magnet attaches to. And then I just made one pocket for the inside. So I've got a tuck spot here and here, and that one's magnetized. This one I made with a piece of wallpaper, and I used a lot of crochet lace that I'd got and some other lace trim that I got, added some pearls, button, and then this one, as I think I've already shown you, this one has got 1, 2, 3, 4 sections to it, because I added 3 pieces of paper inside, because I did this really long, so that I can add all those bits in there. And then on the back I did a lace pocket, put some crochet lace on there, so then I've got another pocket there on the back. So that's a wallpaper one. This one was very similar to the original that inspired me, and this was a big sheet of music paper. Put the paper napkin on the top, put this lace trim on that I was given as a rack, just wrapped some seam binding around and put a heart on the end of it, so that that wraps around to help to keep it closed. But that's a really big sort of wallet. I'll just show you the inside. So you can see it's just a big sheet of music paper with just a single pocket on the inside. This one I did for my Jane Austen journals, and these I just attached the ribbon on the back with a little circle, so the ribbon sort of sits underneath that circle, so that holds it in place. So then I just wrap it round to the front to be able to tie it up, and then if I lift up the flap, it's just a single pocket again, so so that I can put bits and pieces inside of there. And then it's got the pocket on the back, so I can put bits and pieces in there. So that's that one. This one was a piece of coffee dyed card, which I then cut up strips of 8x8 papers that complemented each other, and then I added a little bar on the bottom to put the flap in there. And then I've done this one so that it opens, and I will decorate the inside of that. I might actually put my Tim Holtz, you know, the die with the slots in. I might put that on there, and then put some note papers on here, so then instead of it being a complete wallet, it's more like a booklet wallet. And then I made a fabric one. So this was some upholstery fabric that I'd got, and it's like a velour type fabric. And I put paper over the edge here to prevent the fraying too much. And then I made it so that there's 2 sections in there. So there's one there and one up there. And then as you can see here, I just put a strip of paper again over the top, folded it over from the front round to the back, and zigzagged it in place to just prevent these top edges from fraying. I don't mind so much if the sides fray, but I didn't want these fraying because it prevents you from really using the wallet. And then on the back I attached a piece of card, and I actually embossed the card so that that acts as the pocket on the back. And I think, yeah, that was it. So those are the ones that I made. So the principle is the same for all of them. It's whether you want to attach all the pockets on the inside. So I hope that that was okay for you all, and I hope it inspires you to go and have a look through, rummage through your fabrics, your music papers, your scrap bits of card, your wallpapers. Go and have a play. Looking forward to see what you're coming up with. Loved the pockets that everyone's done so far from last week's video. So yeah, looking forward to see what you create this time. See you later. Bye.